Hello there, you're welcome to another biology lesson. Today we'll be looking at the topic microorganisms around us. Now moving ahead, our objectives for this lesson is to help learners define microorganisms, state the characteristics of microorganisms, mention the types of microorganisms and state the characteristic features of each type giving examples. So now, what are microorganisms? Microorganisms are organisms of microscopic size which may exist in a single cell form or as a colony of cells. They are also known as microbes. Now we have various types of microorganisms. We have 5 types: bacteria, fungi, protozoa, algae, and viruses. So we'll be looking at each one after the other. What are the characteristics or the general characteristics of microorganisms? Number 1, they are everywhere. On the skin, in water, on land, in the soil, and even in and on living things. They are so small and not easily visible to the naked eyes. Some cause diseases and are called pathogens, while others are beneficial. Now we'll be looking at the various types of microorganisms, starting with viruses. Now, what are viruses? Viruses are tiny microbes that can only be seen with the aid of an electron microscope, and they have the following characteristics. They are non-cellular or acellular. In other words, they are not cells in particular because they don't have the 3 parts that all cells should have. That is a cell membrane, a cytoplasm, and genetic material. They have some genetic material. They don't have a cell membrane, so they are not particular cells. They are not particularly cells, and they don't carry out all of life's processes. They occur in various shapes, such as rod, circular, and hexagonal. They contain genetic material, that is, nucleic acid enclosed in a protein coat called capsid. They live in host cells, that is, plants, animals, bacteria, where they replicate or reproduce. In other words, outside of the host cell, they can't reproduce or replicate. They have characteristics similar to living things and non-living things. So we can't say that viruses are living, and we can't say that they are totally non-living because they contain some character or they maintain some characteristics of living organisms. Now we have examples of viruses here. We have HIV, hepatitis B, Ebola, bacteriophage, influenza, and so on. Now moving on, we'll be looking at another type of microorganism, which is bacteria. Now bacteria are unicellular microbes with the following characteristics. They have cell wall made up of peptidoglycan. That means their cell wall is not made up of cellulose. They reproduce by binary fission. Some strains have flagellum, some others do not. As you can see here, this particular bacteria have flagellum. They have capsules that protect them from extreme dryness. They appear with various shapes: spherical, which is cocci, rod, bacilli, spiral, spirilla, and comma, vibros. Now these are the various types of bacteria based on their shape. We have the cocci. We have the Streptococcus pyogenes. We have the Staphylococcus aureus. These all cause diseases. We have rod-shaped bacteria called the bacilli. We have the Bacillus anthracis that causes anthrax. We have Salmonella enterica, which causes typhoid, and Clostridium botulinum, which causes botulism. We have the spiral-shaped bacteria. Examples are Vibrio cholerae that causes cholera, Helicobacter pylon, which causes stomach ulcers, and Treponema pallidum, which causes syphilis. Now we'll be moving to the next type of bacteria called the fungi. These are non-green plants that grow on dead and decaying organic matter. Some are parasitic while many others are saprophytic. They have the following characteristics. They are eukaryotic, non-vascular, non-motile, and heterotrophic organisms. In other words, they don't produce their own food by themselves, but they depend on others for food. They may be unicellular or filamentous. They reproduce by means of spores, and they cannot perform photosynthesis because they lack chlorophyll. Now we have examples of microscopic fungi here. We have the rhizopus, neurospora, agaricus, which is a macroorganism, and we have the fusarium, which is a microscopic in nature. And other than, we have classes of fungi. We have the Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, Deuteromycetes, and we have examples under them. Now finally, we'll be looking at the last of the types of microorganisms, called protozoan. Now protozoans are small unicellular animals. Some are free living, example amoeba, while some are parasitic, example plasmodium. Now they have the following characteristics. They have flagella or cilia for locomotion. Their body is covered by a cuticle or pellicule. Freshwater forms have a contractile vacuole, while their reproduction is by binary fission. Now examples are Trypanosoma, Trichomonas, Paramecium, Euglena, and so on. Now if you look at the picture here, you can see the various types of protozoan. We have the amoeba, we have the Euglena, we have the Trypanosoma, we have the Paramecium, and so on. So these are the various types of protozoan. Now we've come to the end of today's lesson. Now let's take a quick look at the summary. Microorganisms are organisms of microscopic size which may exist in a single-celled form or as a colony of cells. They are also known as microbes. Types of microorganisms are viruses, protozoan, bacteria, fungi. Microorganisms are everywhere. They are so small and not easily visible to the naked eye. Some cause diseases and are called pathogens, while others are beneficial. Now before we go, finally, I want you to pause this video. I want you to take a look at this assessment, answer them on your own to see how much of the lessons that you are imbibed. And I will see you again in the next class. Bye bye.